We're going to look at a segment of questioning from attorney Brian Steele in day 119 of the YSL trial. This is during cross examination of Kenneth Copeland, aka Lil Woody. And Brian Steele's aim here is to lay the groundwork and establish certain things. So, one, he's going to try to get some details out of Kenneth Copeland about his own music career, success, aspirations. Two, he's going to unearth some details about the actual relationship between Jeffery Williams and Lil Woody, Kenneth Copeland. Three, he's going to lay out some groundwork and raise some questions about whether or not Jeffery Williams and Donovan Thomas were on bad terms as of January 2015. And four, and we'll see a lot of arguments and objections from the state on this, some of which they win. Those objections will be sustained in part. But Brian Steele does attempt to introduce some information from social media posts and interviews and music videos involving Kenneth Copeland that suggests maybe Kenneth Copeland isn't the perfect witness that the state hopes he is. So as we go through that, keep these things in mind, and let's look back at this segment of questioning from day 119.
Going back to 2014, going into 2015, you met Jeffery Williams for a short period of time that you were, my word would be hanging out with him, but that's a bad word, that you were in his company and he was in your company, a short period of time. Is that fair to say?
Right.
And when you met him, you already said that he was very popular.
Yes.
True. And is it true that that you observed he was trying to help people like you, but other people too, to get jobs, like legitimate jobs?
What you mean?
Recording studios.
No, I'm saying I don't get what you're asking me.
Okay, let me ask you a different way. So forget about what I said. When you met Jeffery, did you witness him trying to get people to have a legitimate job? A legitimate just means a job at a recording studio, make music, trying to help people.
All the money on the
I can't
arms.
speak for other people, but he tried to help me.
Okay. And when you knew him for the period of time, we're really talking about like between your birthdays. Do you know Jeffery Williams' birthday by any chance? And if you don't, that's fine.
Well, now I do, but
You didn't back then? Okay.
I didn't. Yeah.
Is it fair to say that you and he knew each other, but like after your birthday in July of 2014 and really stopped because you were in custody anyway, by July 2015? That's the period of time that you knew each other? Is that true?
No, I didn't. From 2014, I met him like at the end of 2014.
And then you already told the jury, but you got locked up a lot. The police kept locking you up in January, February, March, April, May, and then June, you were locked up in federal custody for 51 months. True?
Yes.
Okay. And that's really the only period that you knew Jeffrey.
Yeah.
The only time that you were around him or he was around you. True?
Well, really, we wasn't even together every day. I was out in the neighborhood.
So when the state is asking, like, you questioned about, you were so close with him, what you really did was you'd go to a studio, he'd let you come to a studio. True?
Yes. I was going with somebody else.
Yeah. You went originally with a gentleman I know as Mr. Trontavis Stevens. You know that name?
Yes.
Is that also Slug and Tick?
I know.
Person?
I called him Tick. Yeah.
Okay. And that's how you first were introduced to be around Jeffery Williams. True?
I think so.
And then you would see him, he'd allow you, and when I say allow you, I mean, it was okay. It allowed a lot of people to go to his shows, right?
I think Tick invited me out.
Okay. And that was really your relationship with, and he would take pictures with you if you wanted to, and he wanted to. True?
Yeah, I asked.
Yeah. And you put that on social media. You were promoting Jeffrey, and you liked that.
He gave me, yeah.
And it gave you a little bit of maybe
No, a lot.
fame. Okay. Gave you a lot of fame. True.
Yeah.
And you were trying to launch your own career as a musical artist at that time. True?
I was trying to find myself.
Okay. Later, though, you did try to And you did launch your career as a musical artist, right?
Well, I going back to jail, they started locking me back up.
You were trying to do that, though. You were trying to do
I tried it.
Yes. You had a manager.
Huh?
You had a manager.
Yes, I had a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they were controlling your social media feeds, etc.
Yes.
True. Okay. You put out music videos. True.
Well, my manager and them did.
Sure, but you were featured. You were starred.
Right.
It was your music.
Right.
Okay. Jeffrey never had the pleasure of having you featured in one of his songs. Is that true?
Oh,
No, I ain't never been in his song.
Okay. And Jeffrey never was featured in one of your songs. Is that true?
No, me and him don't have music together.
All right. But he did put you in one song of his. You know the song Halftime?
I'm listening.
Do you remember the line, and I'm not saying this a quote, but something effective, if you mess with me, Woody will come up and pop in the noggin. And if that's not a quote, I'm not trying to misquote it, but that's what is that something like what it says in that song?
Yeah.
And the song is Halftime, right?
Yes.
Wildly popular song.
Yes.
And the police, when that song was released, the police seized on that to use it against you, basically. You knew that, right?
sustained.
From your vantage point, and what that means is you learned that the police was using that song. They asked you about that song.
No, they told me.
Yeah.
One of them told me that I think I had got out shit. I got out one of the jails and they got me the next day. And they were like, yeah, man, now you're at the top of our radar. It was something like, and he pissed me off when he said it.
He being the detective.
No, it wasn't no detective, it was the police.
Okay. The police officer upset you when they
I think it was Dennis that said it. It was one of them that said it to me.
Okay. Now, that's the only time you're mentioned in one of Jeffrey's songs. Is that true?
What you mean?
There's not another song that Jeffrey, to your knowledge, mentions you.
That's
Okay. And Halftime, you know this, was made in 2000. It wasn't released till 2015, but it was made in 2014. Is that true?
yes.
Okay.
It's an old song.
And there's no truth to that lyric that you would pop somebody in the noggin for Jeffrey. Am I right?
I would never.
There you
I
go,
want to go
Steele.
back to what we talked about earlier, that Jeffrey was in fact this is, by the way, Your Honor, this is J.W. Jeffrey Williams 241B, as in Barry States Exhibit 378Y. A as in Elisa, it's at 3:16:50 a.m. to 3:16:56 a.m. And this is January 28th, 2015 meeting or interview or interrogation with the police. Okay, Mr. Copeland, I'd like you to listen to this about things were good with Jeffrey. If you could just listen to this.
Defense counsel said January 20th. I think this is the January 11th interview.
You are, and thank you very much. I apologize, Your Honor. It's Mr. Copeland, it's January 11th, 2015 with Detective Thorpe. Same time.
I was cool with him at first. When Thorpe goes up, Thorpe started letting me hang and putting me out in his songs and videos.
You were telling Detective Thorpe that Jeffrey was cool with
Oops.
Mr. Thomas, right?
I guess.
And that's the truth, though, right?
I don't know. I'm saying I can't hear what I said in the video.
Okay, how about this? From your observations, Jeffrey was on good terms with Donovan Thomas.
I I don't think I ever seen them two. I can't remember being around both of them
Ever?
at one time.
You never saw them dap each other up?
I'm saying I don't think I've been around with. I don't think I've been around like if I never seen them. I don't think I've been around with both of them in the same place. If that makes sense.
Yeah, of course. Okay,
I don't remember. I can't remember seeing both of them in the same place.
okay. I want to talk with you about what you told the detectives. It's June 10, 2015. And this is when you're telling the detectives you're at the McDonald's and D gets into your car. I want to talk to you about this. This is JW or Jeffery Williams 240M as in magic, states exhibit number 378, YE as in Aaron, 2:45 p.m. to 2:46 p.m. And you say to the police, SHI blank, I just heard D got in the car and he was like, they just killed him. Or he like, yeah. He like, boy, they killed Nut. Detective Thorpe said, who he say killed Nut? You said, I'm telling you. Like my heart started pounding. Like who? He was like them. And then Nard got in the car. He shut up talking. So we get riding. I'm like, where the HELL, we going? He told me that I was already trying to get the HELL away from them. So Moontoon FaceTimed me. He like, boy, you know, old boy just got shot, right? They saying, boy, he just might not make it. I'm like, who? He like, Nut. I'm like, huh? Man, he trying, he like, SHI, boy, you know, they could scream out a name, right? Man, boy, I ain't got nothing to do with it. So SHI, I'm like, man, my head started hurting instantly. I got off the phone with him. So we following behind them, that's when we dropped them at Thug's house. They was in the car, in the first car. So when we pulled up, I want you to listen to this and tell me if that's what we're talking about. Excuse me.
So I just heard D got in the car, he's like, they killed him. Yeah, he's like, boy, they killed Nut. When you say killed Nut, I'm gonna tell you, I'm like, my heart started pounding like who? He like, damn. And Nut got in the car, he shut up talking. So we get around. I'm like, where they was going? But when he told me that, I was already trying to get ahead away from them. So I moved to FaceTime, he like, but you know, old boy, they got shot, right? Saying, boy, his head might not make it. I'm like, who? He like, Nut. I'm like, him. Man, he like, shit, well, you know they could scream out of name, right? And well, I ain't have nothing to do with it. So shit, I like, man, my head started hurting. I got off on him. So we fight behind him, we drop him. Then we pull up his own door.
Mr. Copeland, did the district attorney's office or anybody in law enforcement, an agent with the FBI who's a cell phone expert or any of the police, did they ever go over with you where your cell phone that you told them about was traveling from the McDonald's area towards Jeffrey's home on January 10th, 2015? Did they ever ask you about that to explain it?
No.
When you were trying to, or you put out some of your music, I want to talk to you about that if I can, okay? Now, do you remember putting out a song and a music video entitled Homicide?
Yeah.
And Jeffrey had nothing to do with that song or music video. Is that true?
I started doing music with somebody else.
And one of the people that you started to do music with, and he's shown in your video to Homicide is the gentleman named Mr. Turner, or you referred to him as Threat. Is that true?
Yeah.
And in the music video Homicide that you put out, would you recognize that music video if it was shown to you?
It's my video?
Yeah, of course.
It's mine.
Okay. I'd like to show you, and Your Honor, move into evidence, Jeffery Williams, number 243B, as in Barry, and it's a music video by Mr. Copeland. And I want to ask you a couple of questions about that, okay, Mr. Copeland?
So the state never
I'd like to show
introduced
it first
this.
and then ask you some questions, okay?
All right.
First, I think he needs to show it to the witness. And
I think there's a
Why don't
proper
you just
foundation.
show a tiny
Okay.
little clip and see if he recognizes it.
He says, I don't
Mr.
recall, and they
Kokomo,
say
of
can't
course,
come in.
Permission's approaching.
You may.
Thank you. Mr. Copeland, just do me a favor. When Mr. Kokomo comes to you, just watch this for as long as you need.
Just to see whether you recognize it as the music video that is Homicide.
And wait, you have to show it to the state first. They have it, but just show it.
Is this all on the
4 minutes.
drive or whatever that you provided already?
Yes.
So then they've,
And Your Honor, I misspoke. It's JW243C, as in Colette, is not B.
okay.
Yeah, that's my video.
And Mr. Copeland, I heard what you said. I'm going to repeat it. If it's not what you said, just correct me.
Yeah, that's my video.
That is, you recognize it as your video.
Yeah, I shot that video.
Okay. Your Honor, I move into evidence. I'd like to play Jeffery Williams 243C, as in Colette.
relevant, Your Honor.
What's the relevance?
I believe that there is an indication of an image of, that appears to be like Mr. Donovan Thomas, and Threat is in the video as well as Mr. Copeland.
All right, can we just maybe zoom to those
Sure.
parts and do those little parts instead of the entirety of it?
Yeah,
Unless the entirety of it's relevant.
no. We-
Okay,
We can
thank you.
absolutely do it. I move for the admission of everything, but for purposes of
Sure.
expedition.
All right,
Okay,
it's admitted. Okay. Go ahead.
Well, matter of fact, he calling right now.
Say
So
to
there's
him,
lots of money.
you got
Tay.
that fuck nigga y'all been looking for.
Donovan Thomas is kind of heavy set.
We at the spot.
Man, he can fight. We on the way right now. We on the way right now.
All right.
But what do you think? Do you think that the guy with the shirt over his head is supposed to represent Donovan Thomas? Nut?
They on the way now, little bro.
and if you can go back, Mr. Kokomo, for the jurors, Mr. Copeland, I'd just like to explain some things. The person right there in the black, in the black shirt with the red-looking bow tie and the red vest on the cell phone, you see that person? Can you tell the jurors who that is?
Threat.
And I heard you, but your hands are over your mouth. Do you mind just
I
telling?
said that threat.
Okay. And then if you go back a little bit, Mr. Kokomo, and Mr. Kokomo, what time is that we just announced? 53:58, Your Honor, is what we were just talking about. And if you just go back a little bit more. Keep going back just a little bit more. Right up, go just ahead, right there. And Mr. Copeland at 4094, is it fair to say that's you?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to go to 56:02. That's wrong. 3 minutes, 56 seconds, 02 to the end.
So this is who I think is supposed to, well, who Steele is going to say is supposed to represent Donovan Thomas. And now they're putting money on his head, and it's making me think of the whole story where he had taken money, said he politely gave it back without issue. But what's the symbolism of putting money on somebody's head?
We ain't take no loss.
And then handing him more money right after. And then YouTube gonna hate this.
Homicide. We're gonna.
Mr. Copeland, do you remember telling District Attorney Hylton before June 7th, 2024, that's the first time the jurors ever saw you come into the courtroom? Judge Glanville was the judge at that time, and you invoked the Fifth Amendment. That's the day I'm talking about. So before that day, okay? Am I losing you? Because I'm not trying to. I lost you?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're finished with the exhibit. Can you take it down?
Yeah,
But before, I'm sorry.
you finished with it.
For now, I'm going to go
Okay.
back to it. Before the first time the jurors saw you testify on a Friday, June 7th, 2024, before that, do you remember telling District Attorney Hylton that you made a video admitting to killing Donovan Thomas? Do you remember saying that?
Huh?
Do you remember saying on social media or otherwise that you made a video or a statement that you admitted to killing Donovan Thomas? Do you remember saying that?
Objection, mischaracterization of evidence. Not even evidence.
So he told you something.
I don't know how to rule on that.
Okay.
I don't have anything in front of me.
That's fine. Let me get the, can I have 1
So
second?
hold
Yeah.
on.
It's not
That
an
objection from
evidentiary
the
objection,
state
by the way.
Sounds like Hylton was told about this, but they didn't ask or inquire or introduce this video to the jury as part of their own case, which, whatever you feel about free expression, artistic expression in the chat, cool. But keep in mind that the state is trying to remove the concept of freedom of expression when they want to introduce certain lyrics or videos or imagery.
Another question.
But they
On
selectively
what we
leave
just
this
saw
homicide
on
video
Jeffery
out.
Williams 243C, that man who had money on his head and then was shot in the video. Remember that on the homicide video? Did that have anything in your mind to do with Donovan Thomas?
I don't get what you're asking me.
When you did that video, did that have anything in your mind to do with the killing of Donovan Thomas?
No.
Okay. It's just a video, a music video?
Yeah, just a video.
Now, when part of your what you try to give out to the public is that you are a real gangster. Is that true?
Huh?
Do you remember giving an interview on the porch interview? Do you remember that?
Out the porch?
Off the porch, yes, sir. Do you remember doing that interview?
I remember doing it, but I don't remember what I said.
Okay. Do you remember saying that you are a real gangster, but other people are just musicians? They just play gangsters. Do you remember saying something like that?
You gotta show me.
All right. Mr. Kokomo, this is Your Honor, Jeffery Williams 246. It's April 29, 2020, off the porch interview with Mr. Copeland. Do you remember that video? Excuse me, the off the porch interview?
I remember, but I don't remember what was said.
Okay. Was that you in that video that was shown to you?
In that picture he showed me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you need to hear what was said? Did Mr. Kokomo play that for you?
No, he just showed me a picture and walked off.
Mr. Kokomo, would you just show Mr. Copeland the relevant portions, 504, and you can listen to any of it, 504 and 512 and 859 to 907. Mr. Copeland, just listen to this yourself, please. They have it. Just say it.
This is a bit crazy, you guys. And I'm all for, you guys hear me say all the time, freedom of expression in art. But when there's specificity, then I think there could be an argument to bring it in. But this is kind of the state getting a taste of their own medicine. They didn't want to introduce this video. And I think it's problematic. Not so much this video, which is available
Is it-
online publicly, but if Woody said something to Hylton about the context of this video that could exculpate the defendants, any of the defendants,
you
and they did
in
not
your- during
disclose
your
those
interview or
statements to
part of
Brian
it?
Steele
Yeah.
Okay.
or
Your
any
Honor, I move
defense.
for the admission of Jeffrey Williams 246 specifically, and I don't care if the whole interview's in, but specifically the times I announced, Your Honor.
Your Honor, we're objecting based on improper character, and we can approach for some other matters, Your Honor.
All right, instead of approaching, because I haven't seen this before, so I'm gonna need to see it as well. I'm gonna excuse y'all to the jury room.
This is interesting stuff, you guys. This is interesting. There has not been a dull moment of this day so far, at least to me. I mean, that's my own opinion. Like, this is crazy. Body language are looking down right now. Yeah, Myth AB, this is how I feel. I feel like caught red-handed, checkmate. And not even so much just Woody, but possibly it could have, the culprit, the main culprit, could have been Tay or Threat, right? So this might not be caught red-handed for Woody, but if Woody tried to tell Hylton, look, we made this video about the killing of this guy, and Hylton didn't tell that to Steele.
All right, I know there was an improper character objection. Whose character?
At this point, it seems like Mr. Steele is one implying for the witness about him being a gangster. It sounds like he's going down a line of a some other dude did it defense, especially speaking
Threat.
about Threat and the homicide video. And then this video, this on the porch video of Mr. Copeland speaking about being a gangster. We think that this is more prejudicial than probative, substantially more prejudicial than probative. And so those are the basis for our objections.
And so whose character are you alleging it's
Prejudicial to who?
improperly impugning?
Mr. Copeland.
Okay, let me see what you're planning to play.
Sucks when you've already introduced a bunch of lyrics and videos, State.
So at the end of the day, I got a story to tell.
Yeah.
You want to listen to it? Or you keep listening to these niggas that ain't did nothing gangster, nothing tougher than they life. So
It sounds like he's contrasting himself to people that haven't done anything gangster in their life, which the implication there is that he himself is what? Has what?
to hear so many people like it just build my confidence. I mean, because I had a pride thing, like I don't want to be labeled as nothing but a gangster. So you look at me anything other than that, you got a problem. I'm gonna slap the shit out of you. But whenever
I'm gonna overrule those objections.
You know, to me, the idea would be if you're showing these videos that he's calling himself a gangster, Kenneth Copeland's calling himself a gangster. I do anticipate that Brian Steele is going to start probing into questions about 30 Deep affiliations with not just Copeland, but Copeland and Tay, anything that he has personal knowledge of, and how 30 Deep may have had certain issues with people affiliated with victims in this case. I think that's what Steele is laying the groundwork for, although we might have to wait until after lunch to actually see that play out. So either way, Ballerina, he's definitely proving third-party culprit going on right there.
All right, so we're gonna have the jury back out, wrap up, I guess. You're saying, Mr. Steele, that we can wrap up this topic fairly quickly and then we'll break for lunch. And
They're gonna
it
have-
sounds like she's just feeling okay now, but will sort of keep us posted, so.
Okay.
Okay, and Mr. Copeland as well.
They're going to have lunch after a bombshell of whatever is about to come out here with this, I'm a gangster, I only want to be seen as a gangster, and if he asks any questions about it right after, then they'll close up and go to lunch on that note. And yes, G. Lander, the state is against Kenneth Copeland being shown to be a gangster. Bad character evidence about Kenneth Copeland. The one who we found out, Michael Sprinkle, was charged with, Demiki and Garlington, I think Shannon Stillwell, and maybe Demise McMullen was the fourth person. I'm not sure about the fourth person. Or maybe it was Zachary, Lil D, initially, but somehow those charges got dropped. And here today, he has the immunity, so we can secure his testimony. So very, very interesting. And seems extremely self-serving to the state to limit that character evidence. It seems more prejudicial to the state's argument, and the state does not get that protection.
Okay, Mr. Steele.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, I'd like to publish to the jury Jeffery Williams of JW 246, specifically the timeframe 5:04 through 5:12. And Mr. Copeland, if you could listen to it, and I just want to ask a question, okay? All right, you might need your earplugs if you want to use them.
At the end of the day, I got a story to tell.
Yeah.
You want to listen to it? Or if you listen to these niggas, they ain't did nothing gangster, nothing tougher than they like. So.
Were the people around you?
Mr. Copeland, are we able to hear what you said during that interview?
Yeah, I heard it.
And you don't need me to explain. Tell the jurors what you were saying to the interviewer.
What you mean?
What was the,
What was I getting it?
yeah, can you tell the jurors, please?
Well, I did an interview and well, I got to hear the question that he asked me.
Okay, let me ask you this. Some jurors may not know what off the porch is. Can you tell them what that is?
It's a they interview rappers, upcoming rappers, and ask questions about the music and your background and stuff like that. That's what you ask?
Yeah, and this was done approximately April 29, 2020. Do you remember that?
It was done. I don't know when.
Do you remember it was done during COVID, if that matters at all?
But before I went back to jail.
Okay. And in that segment that the jurors heard it, but you're explaining that you're a real gangster, not these other people who are pretending. That I'm not saying that's a quote, but something like that. That's what you were discussing, where you said. Is that true?
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to, and you discussed Jeffery Williams in this. If you remember, I could play for you, but if you remember off the porch interview, is that true?
All right.
You said he was like a role model. He blew up, or whatever the right word is. True?
Well, he showed us that it was real.
I'd like to show you or play for you, if you don't mind. You might need your earpiece again. This is 8:59 to 9:07. I'm going to ask you the same type of questions. Just what did you say? What did you mean? I'm going to ask you the same type of questions. What did you say and what did you mean? All right. Same thing.
Because I had a pride thing. Like, I don't want to be labeled as nothing but a gangster. So you look at me anything other than that, you got a problem. I'm going to slap the shit out of you. But when everybody.
Did you hear that? You hear what you said?
I think we all heard.
Yeah. And what you're expressing is that's what you want people to look at you as. That you're tough.
No, I just wanted people to know, not to look at me. I wanted them to know.
That you're tough.
I ain't tough. I just ain't scared.
All right. Now, you also put on your social media, I think the state showed it to you, but let me get the exhibit number.
You better play some?
Well, let me show you something before. Is that okay? Just give me one
Oh,
second.
I'm just trying to see. I didn't hear you.
Let's go back to that interview for just 1 second. Do you remember at the first part of the interview saying that these other people are not real gangsters? That's what you said, right? I think I asked it actually. So
No, that's what I said.
okay. All right. Exhibit number Jeffery Williams 236B, as in Barry. And with the court's permission, can Mr. Kokomo just show it to Mr. Copeland?
I'm sorry, is this the same one? The off the porch? This is a different one.
This
Did you
is a
say
different
236B this time? Okay, sorry, I didn't know if you said 246, so
46 was the last one.
that's what I thought, so wasn't sure whether we were talking about the same one or a different one. All right. Yeah, he may. 236B, is that what you said? Mr. Steele B.
236B is correct.
Okay.
Did you see that, Mr. Copeland? Do you recognize that as your social media account at one time?
Yeah.
Okay. Your Honor, I move for the admission of Mr. Williams, and it's 236B as in Barrett.
It's admitted,
Can Mr. Kokomo please display, Your Honor?
yes.
Mr. Kokomo, Mr. Copeland, I apologize. I want to go through this with you just for a minute, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And when I say this, I'm talking about JW, Jeffery Williams Exhibit 236B as in Barry. That's a picture of you on the left-hand side. Do you remember where you were in that picture?
In the back of a Rolls Royce,
And do you remember whose Rolls Royce that would be?
there was a rental.
One more time.
A renter.
Okay, do you know who rented it?
No.
Okay. And then it says 725 underscore WODY, and then it has Georgia most wanted with 2 emoji green snakes. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
And it says that you're an artist, or it says artist, the word artist, right? True? Is that right?
Yeah.
And then underneath it says, I came from nothing with a period. You see that?
Yeah, I see it.
And I came from nothing. Do you know that to be a series of Jeffrey's music?
What you mean?
Do you know whether Jeffery Williams ever put out music? I came from nothing.
Yeah.
1, 2. Okay. And is that where that comes from? And if not, that's fine. I'm just asking you, were you inspired by
That's where it came from.
Okay. And when it says Georgia's most wanted, you're aware that you were deemed by the federal authorities
Dun,
as
dun,
12
dun.
most dangerous people in Atlanta. Is that true?
I was?
Yeah.
Objection, speculation.
I'm asking you.
Well, I mean, it's not speculation, but he's answered that he didn't seem to know.
Let me show you. Tell me whether this refreshes your memory.
Objection, Your Honor. This is
This is damaging to our case, Your Honor.
What's the number? Exhibit number?
What's the objection?
this is not this is nothing that he can authenticate.
Okay, there's an authentication objection.
Well,
Is
let
that
me-
the only objection?
Irrelevance. And if we can approach it, we can show you the exhibit.
You may. Let's go ahead and send the jury to lunch then. And
All
we'll
right,
deal
so they're
with
gonna
this
recess on
while
this.
y'all go to lunch. Let's be back at 1:15, please.
All right, so just over an hour on this lunch.
You said 150?
Yeah.
1:15.
Well, technically, it's speculation for the witness to answer if they don't know, right? But yeah, the objection to me sounds like, I don't like it, Your Honor. Waits for the judge to give them the objection. But in any case, Brian Steele asked the question, and it's in his bio, and there's been questions that have already talked about the feds wanting Woody. So, and those jail calls where Deshawn, girlfriend Deshawn, baby mom Deshawn, 3 ways Detective Gaither in, and Detective Gaither's going on and on and on about the feds wanting him for a charge. So it's not a foreign concept to the jury to piece this context together if they're paying attention even 10%. Yeah, and it was all over the news. It's public information,
Okay.
but
Is your intent to show that entire thing with the, whatever that heading is?
I was going to, Your Honor, if Mr. Copeland can recognize it, I was going to admit it into evidence, and it is from, we received in discovery from the state, and it's Operation Phoenix, and it's the authorities announced on October 29th, 2020, charges for the 12 most violent offenders in Operation Phoenix, and I was going to show that to him.
All right, and
And then he has that on his Instagram, or I shouldn't say Instagram. It's a social media account. I think
and
it's
when's that social media post from?
that is, he's saying it's in the social media biography of bio of Mr. Copeland. I don't know the date personally, Your Honor.
Okay, and how is any of whatever, whomever authority this was might have thought in October of 2020 relevant to the issues that we're talking about right now with Mr. Copeland?
I believe it's relevant because the state is saying that Jeffery Williams governs this person. That's their whole theory. Tells them go out. They're using one lyric from one song. Jeffery Williams, as the court may not know, has thousands of songs that Woody's going to pop you in the noggin. That is the quote. And I want to show that they hardly knew each other. They knew each other for a short period of time. Mr. Copeland did not commit crimes for Jeffery Williams. Jeffery Williams encouraged Mr. Copeland to conduct himself lawfully. That was on a jail call that we heard yesterday. In fact, included on that, Jeffery Williams, through his sisters, saying, get out of the streets. You have a child. You don't have to live that life. And I want to show that Mr. Copeland ignored all of that. And after he has no contact, he has zero contact with Jeffery Williams, he is still putting on his social media that he is a gangster, or one of Georgia's most wanted. He is by the prosecution. These are federal authorities, by the way. So when I say prosecution, I'm talking about the federal authorities, deemed him one of the 12 most violent offenders in Georgia in 2020. And he has done an interview with Off the Porch in April 2020, where he's stating that he's a real gangster, the other people are not, and that if you disagree with that, he's going to, straighten you out, basically. So I think that's all important to the jurors, because it will hopefully undress this wrong impression, in my opinion, strongly wrong impression, that the state is putting up, that somehow this man is all around Jeffery Williams, knows what he says, knows what he's thinking. He overhears him on conversations, and Jeffery Williams is there when the police keep calling Kenneth Copeland. It just, in my opinion, and hopefully the cross-examination, that just wasn't their relationship. So.
Okay, well, most of what you mentioned already has already been put before the jury, and this particular exhibit does not in any way shed any light on whether Mr. Copeland is or is not close with Mr. Williams. And I just do not see the relevance of it, particularly given that he said he didn't know that that's what law enforcement thought of him.
Okay.
So I'm going to sustain that objection.
I understand. Okay. We will
All right.
move on.
Okay.
All right, so there you go. So that is a segment, I think, where Brian Steele weaves together 4 different topics, 4 different areas in one block of questioning, for the purpose of establishing that Jeffery Williams wasn't on bad terms with Donovan Thomas, and that Lil Woody and Jeffery Williams might not have been on the best terms, might not really have dealt with each other all that often. And most importantly, that they weren't in such a relationship where Kenneth Copeland would do anything for Jeffery Williams and wasn't being ordered to do things on behalf of Jeffery Williams. And additionally, some of this character evidence towards Lil Woody, especially the stuff that was actually able to come in front of the jury, is groundwork for more questioning later in the day at the end of day 119 that Brian Steele starts to walk through line by line with Kenneth Copeland. So I will clip that in a separate segment for anyone that didn't get to watch the full stream. But let me know your thoughts on this block of questioning by Brian Steele and these topics that he covered. You guys, floor is yours. Let me know what you think. See you next time.